Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Hellblazers. This is Chris Gordon here on Ramblings of a Hellblazer. Once again, today I am privileged to bring to you someone from our beloved show, Constantine. This man has appeared as one of John's old friends and made a huge impact on the show and fans alike. He's had an illustrious career, appearing in things such as Band of Brothers, Defiance, and most recently the magnificent and strange Fortitude, as well as Constantine. He has also been in my wife's favourite show, Holby City, which is a UK show about a fictional hospital. This guest is also very well known within the theatre arena, being a resident artist with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and known within the thespian world for his portrayal as Richard III and Mercutio from Romeo and Juliet. So without further ado, I introduce to you the man who played Gary Bloody Lester. It's Jonjo O'Neill, and listen out for perhaps a surprise. Now, so good evening, Mr. O'Neill. Can I call you Jonjo for the interview?
Of course you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for joining me for this evening, and it's a great pleasure and honour to have this opportunity. I am the envy of many, many fans at the moment talking to you.
But what they don't know is that we're actually conducting this on visual Skype, so we can see each other.
I know, yeah.
They can only hear us.
I know, that's, yeah, they'll be even more gutted now.
You could have put on some clothes, Chris.
Well, you know, it's, you know, my home is my castle.
Chris has a lovely painting behind him there of a forest. The forest, and there's light streaming through.
There is. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings. That oh, dear. I can see a nice bookshelf behind you there.
Yeah, I've cropped out quite a lot of my background.
You've managed to do that, haven't you?
It's quite a private Skype corner I found. Managed to kind of retain some mystery.
Yeah, I've got a nice vision of a wall behind you, but the video's a bonus anyway because I wasn't expecting the video.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Anyway, basically, like I've explained, this is just a few questions, well, more than a few, that have been brought up from the fans of Constantine regarding your appearance on the show.
Yes.
And, yeah, I'd just like to go through some of those questions so we can get some answers and have the fans listen to Gary Bloody Lester and his interpretation of them. Right. Yeah. Cool, so we'll kick it off. So who or what was it that sparked your interest to become an actor?
Who or what? Well, my mum told me when I was a little kid, I used to come back from Mass. I was Catholic in Ireland. Yeah. And I would come back from Mass on Sundays, and I would get up on this. We had this little table. It's very like a small coffee table type of thing. I would get up on this and pretend to be the priest. You know, speaking and all that.
Right.
So she's convinced that this was my first acting role. You know, I think I just saw the priest on stage. You know, kind of, you know, doing his routine, and I thought this was, you know, something I wanted to do. Cool. So that was the first signs. But of course, you know, the real catalyst was Bugsy Malone. You know, I was 13, Bugsy Malone, I was Dandy Dan, that was it. Love at first sight. And, yeah, I fell in love with it when I was, much like Matt, you know, I went into the musical side of it, you know, I was singing and that was my background, you know, musicals. And then, you know, it's kind of diversified since then, yeah.
All right, cool, nice one. I think we're the same sort of era as well, because Bugsy Malone was sort of when I was that age, and it was great.
Yeah, I saw it on stage a few weeks ago. It was fantastic in London.
Oh wow! I've got to get down there again, down to the West End, and see some good theatre.
Oh yeah, some great stuff on.
Yeah, cool. So, what role would you love to do one day? What would be your ideal role?
Maybe like Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay.
I'm kind of half joking, full serious.
Right.
I loved that story when I was a kid, and I think I'd really like to play Rumpelstiltskin. And I've kind of started saying that to people when they ask me, because I think it's funny, but
Yeah.
also I do like the character as well. In terms of, you see, so if you say which character do you want to play, though, that does tend to mean classical character or a character from literature or a classical role. I haven't played Hamlet yet, you know. I'm running out of time, darlings. There's plenty of Shakespeare parts I'd love to play, you know, and yeah, there's lots of wonderful plays I'd love to do. Yeah, for me, it's about people too. It's not just the part, you know.
Yeah.
It's getting to work with certain actors and certain directors and writers, and you know, there's lots of different things that makes a project worthwhile or exciting.
All right. Cool.
But yes, the short answer is Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, you could have been on Once Upon a Time, and you could have got that instead of.
No, he must have been in. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, what's been your favourite character so far to play?
Present company accepted. We mean? Or
Okay. Yeah, present company accepted. Yeah.
It was actually my favourite role on screen.
All right, great.
For different reasons. But that might be covered in other questions. So, my favourite character was probably Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
I played that with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I played it on and off for a few years, for nearly 3 years, because we were in rep, a system where you do different performances of different plays, different evenings.
Yeah.
But that role was kind of in my body and in my head for 2.5, 3 years, and I think it's probably the best thing I've done and the thing I'm proudest of, and I really miss playing it. It was a real, like, just an amazing character, you know. Yeah. Kind of Shakespeare's rock star, you know. That's kind of what he is, you know.
Oh, brilliant.
I loved that part, and I'd do anything to get to play it, just, you know, for one evening again.
Fantastic. I think Shakespeare does have some fantastic parts.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. You can't fault him. Even I say most of today's modern language is based on, you know, phrases from his plays, and just absolutely fantastic. Okay, I've got another. Oh, this is a different one. As you play the guitar, have you ever thought of releasing an album?
Yes, I mean, you have to make an album first before you release it.
True.
But it is a dream. Yeah, I have to admit, I've got some songs, and I'd love one day to kind of to do that as a you know, a passion, you know,
yeah.
Rather than, you know, of course, acting was my kind of first love in that way, creatively, but it becomes your job. So music is a pure passion for me. So if it were to be about making an album, it would be purely about for love. But so it's something I do see myself maybe doing one day. Yeah.
All right, lovely. That sounds very cool. It's strange hearing, obviously, like yourself, it's you know, acting is just a job. You know, you sort of, it's like any other job that you sort of get into it, and you just sort of, it gets to that sort of stage where it is a job. Obviously, you still love what you're doing, but having something different like the guitar as a love and a passion, just to take you away from that is sounds really, really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You need a release.
Yeah.
From what it is you do all day, no matter what it is.
Exactly. This is mine. From sat managing IT projects all day. It's not the most thrilling thing in the world.
Where are you now, then?
I'm in Prestatyn in North Wales.
Oh.
So I'm not too far from Chester and Liverpool. Places like that, so it's not too bad.
Matt's not North Wales, is he?
No, South Wales, Swansea.
Yeah.
It's from the valleys.
Oh.
I better not. If I ever get to spoke to Matt, I'll never actually say that to him. My South Wales accent's appalling. Oh dear. Right, did you read the Hellblazer comics to prepare for the role as Gary Lester? His portrayal was different. Was that something you decided?
Well, yes, I did read the comics, and the first thing I read, however, was Cameron Welsh.
Okay.
and that's where it starts and ends, really. I suppose I got a real sense. It was a wonderfully self-contained episode. I thought there was a really there was like a classical structure to it. You know, it totally could have been a movie. That kind of the feel to it, and I thought Gary's just this. I thought it was a beautiful story, really.
Okay.
Their friendship, his guilt, and his redemption, and what it costs him in order to find that redemption, which is everything.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sacrifice at the end, isn't it? To find
it's the ultimate sacrifice, and it's it's something that appears throughout literature and also different movies and in different Bibles, and but I just had a great feeling for it, and I really loved the character, and I was just drawn to his brokenness, his patheticness, and how he just couldn't get it right.
Yeah. And
at the same time, there was something about him that I felt like he was one of these characters who didn't have a bad bone in his body. Yeah. Not to say that he didn't make mistakes and make awful choices, but it came from damage.
Yeah.
I mean to say, I really empathise with the character.
Yeah, he sort of really means well, didn't he? But
yeah, and an amazing foil for John's harshness. John can be very cold, and he can be a right bastard. Let's face it. And there's something vulnerable about Gary that it slotted in really well. I thought the writing was fantastic. I have to say, I loved what Cameron did with it.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the image, I mean, I remember I was in my kitchen here in London, and I got the script through, and I had to make a tape for the edition, and of course, then I went into the comics, and kind of you get a real sense of the energy from the comics. That really informed me, his kind of nervous energy, or there's some amazing images. That were really useful. But of course, I don't look like the guy in the comics, so it's just about having a feel for it.
Yeah.
There was something about, I could talk about that. Yeah. Well, the primary source was the episode that Cameron had written.
Yeah.
But of course, I read the comics and referenced them. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. That sounds great. You're right. Those two episodes, they were really. They could have stood alone. And I'm not being sycophantic, but your portrayal of Gary Lester was fantastic. The emotion that sort of conveyed in that episode, and the conflict that was all very apparent. And you really worked well with Matt as Constantine in that, and you could see both of you. That it really, really portrayed so well. The anguish that was there that you just described. It was very, very apparent. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you have drawn yourself to these fans and the fans like us so much, is through that. It was a brief, it was 2-episode appearance, but those 2 episodes have hit home so much because of the performance that you gave. So yeah, that was thank you for that. That was great performing. So, why do you think the Constantine cast and crew have managed to keep such a tight bond between you when so many other creative families kind of divorce? It seems to be a very unique thing that you guys have all had. That everyone I've spoken to has said how much of a tight-knit community, that you're all really good friends on set. I mean, Hillary thinks she thinks the world of you, and I spoke to her as well. So,
love Hillary. I think it starts from the top.
Yeah.
It starts from the top, from David Goya and Daniel Cerrone, and then your leading man, Matt. And these are the people that lead the way, and if you've got people with the right energy and positive energy and genuine love and passion for what they're doing in those positions, it's just infectious. And I think the producers were good at employing people that they wanted to work with, that were going to bring positive energy to the project. So in short, I think it starts from the top.
Okay.
And that energy spreads. But there was definitely a real camaraderie there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the long hours. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah. I've heard there was some extremely long hours, yeah.
I was only there for a few weeks, but it's God. I was like, God, I was meant to do it. It's yeah.
God. Cool. Well, okay. Next question is about your. You have apparently Elle believes you've got a fabulous denim shirt, which you've managed to walk on in wardrobe shoots as often as you can. You're not wearing it today. I will say, Elle. He's not wearing it. So he's
not wearing anything.
I know. Yeah, it's quite off-putting trying to talk to you when you like that.
Elle.
Yeah, Elle. Yes.
Elle, I think Elle might have tweeted me about this, and I may have sidestepped it. It's because it has been a favourite of mine. I have to say, yes, it is my shirt.
Right. And
we were looking. It often happens when costume designers, you have a chat with them, because your clothes tend to look most natural on you.
Yeah.
You know, that they're always going for something that is a mixture between you and the character. You know, so there's something authentic from you, and
Yeah.
But then sometimes that ends up where you're actually just wearing your own clothes. So I think in Sudan, I was wearing nearly all of my clothes. And there was a necklace that I had actually bought in Atlanta,
right,
that we were using too. I love that. I love using my own clothes. But that denim shirt is upstairs. Yeah, it's I think it's on its way out now. But yeah, that indeed was the shirt. Was that the question?
It was, yeah, that's what it was. She said she's admitted to having her own for about 20 years as well, so she knows exactly how you feel.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll hold on to it for a while longer.
Cool. This one's going to be funny because I know the meaning of this. The next one, it's also she heard a new expression. She does work in communications. She heard a new expression, which was in passing during a tweet of yours, which she has loved ever since, and that was the bunny boiler. So she wants from yourself, what is the definition of bunny boiler behaviour? Because you've got a lot of fans out there and a lot of fangirls. And
do you want me to tell you about bunny boiler?
Yeah, go on. Just what describes a bunny boiler to you?
Well, this was weird. This was quite weird. I'll tell you one bunny boiler behaviour. I was in San Francisco.
Right.
I was doing. I'm sure that some of the Constantine fans who follow me on Twitter will have known I was doing, and they were very, very supportive of my Sweat for Change challenge, where I was doing a thing for charity where I would sweat every day, and I posted pictures of myself on Facebook as sweat evidence, so that people that were sponsoring me for the sweat could see that I was filling my end of the bargain. So I was in San Francisco, and I just arrived there, never been there before, and I went for a run around the harbour. Mm-hmm. And I had my phone in my my pocket when I was running, and I stopped to take a sweaty selfie,
Yeah.
But with maybe something that was San Francisco in the background, That's
it's a nice image.
Yeah, nice. Maybe there was a bit of bridge or something there, and something that mentioned San Francisco Pier, or something like that. But then so that was that photo of the day. Mm-hmm. Someone else set up a Twitter account, then sent me a photo that they'd found on Google Earth.
Right.
The exact spot where I was.
Okay. I'd say that's very weird.
I mean, why would you do that?
How could you actually? Yeah.
Why would you set up a Twitter account just for that purpose? Well, to be anonymous.
True.
But then, why?
Yeah, that does seem weird. Yeah, very strange indeed. Especially, how could pinpointing your exact location in that photo as well?
Know, it's very excessive.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing is, that could have been a joke, but if it was a joke, why have you kind of taken away your identity? Oh,
yeah.
That's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
And that's moving into bunny boiler behaviour. Yeah, so I think bunny boiler behaviour, I think it's when it gets a bit stalky, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's very sort of a definition of it is what you've just said, I think, definitely. I can't actually say that anyone's been that way with me, but
Yeah.
so yeah, but yeah, I'd say that's the truth. It's just that's yeah. I can't even explain that. No, that is a freaky thing to happen. I can't even find my way in. Oh,
I'm here. I'm
all right, okay.
I live in a house with a few other people.
That's all right.
So there's occasional noises.
For the benefit of everyone, Jonjo just got up and walked away from me then.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so you're so multi-talented with song, dance, and stage, whether it be bard or modern, big screen or small screen. What would be your ideal year if you could have your balance of projects?
Oh. Well, I think the answer's in the question, isn't it? I mean, it's but the thing is, I do love variety.
Yeah.
If I only do screen work, I feel unfulfilled.
Okay.
It's almost like going to the gym and not getting a sweat.
Right, I see.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something about doing theatre work, you really push through, and you feel, you get into your body, and it's very satisfying. But if you do it too much, it's very demanding, and it drives you insane.
I can imagine. I used to do a little bit of theatre, and it was only tiny school stuff, nothing more, because that's what I wanted to get into. But there's a whole atmosphere about it, so I totally feel you there. It's
very intense.
Yeah.
And of course, the parts you tend to be interested in, the better parts tend to be crazy people. I think you know what I mean. Drama come from people being peaceful and happy. It tends to come from massive arguments and mental breakdowns. You know.
True, exactly.
For example, that didn't go well. You know, so if you're playing these characters who are kind of interesting, fractured, you know, people at crisis points in their lives, or you know, whatever. If you're kind of doing that, you tend to kind of, you need a break from that, you know.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a mix of tone throughout the year. But I suppose, in short, I'd like to do some stage and some screen work. But then also, you'd like a shift between something maybe light and something heavy.
All right, cool.
That's what I like.
Yeah, that's kind of answered one of my questions that I was going to throw on you anyway. Was what is it? Do you find it easier or more difficult to do theatre work than TV work? Or is it a balance of both?
It definitely is a balance. Yeah. I feel more at home on stage. There's no two ways about it.
Right.
I mean, that's what I am. I'm just, as an animal, you know. And I spent probably most of my time, over 15 years on stage. You know, little bits of television, but that was really my home. And the last few years, I've made a deliberate choice to commit more time to screen work.
Right. Okay.
Because I've wanted to find that same relaxation on screen as I've found on stage.
Yeah.
That's a work in progress, and you know, of course, it varies with different roles. Gary Lester was a role I felt comfortable with. Straight away, I thought, "Yep, I think I love this character." You know. So you feel relaxed, you feel you can bring something to it. Whereas when you don't feel naturally as confident in a certain role, you can be more back foot, more reticent, less confident, less, you know. And then, of course, if you're, you know, you're maybe not then in a position to be doing your best work if you're not feeling totally relaxed. So so it's. I love feeling like it's about learning, and it's about new, and I like feeling young in myself, you know, with work. So I think that's why at the moment I think screen work definitely has a greater lure, because I have much more curiosity surrounding the craft of acting on screen.
All right, brilliant, thank you. What was the best thing about being on Constantine, and why? We were going to touch on that earlier, I think, but...
Matt, because he's my best friend.
Fair enough.
That's why. But I'll tell you, I mean, doing that scene quite early on, we did the scene in the theatre.
Yeah.
The first scene we filmed was me in bed screaming. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and we went straight into the death scene. and we hadn't really talked to each other. And I was there in Atlanta, and I'd seen him for a bit, and then suddenly I'm in bed, and you just have to go for it, don't you? The director, John, said, I think we should go for it, really go for it.
Okay.
And initially, initially it was going to go fades to black at the end of the fades to black. We still hear his screams.
Right.
And so it was going to be really hardcore. So I thought, okay, I've just got to go for this here. And that was the first time I'd seen Matt in a while.
Yeah.
Suddenly, in bed, he's holding my hand, and in between takes, he's got a straw because of these the markings on my face. I couldn't really, So I had a straw, and he was giving me water. We just looked at each other and burst out laughing. And I just thought, how did we get here? It was
very surreal. Yeah,
very surreal. And that was great because it just we just worked together we just picked up where we left off, and just
Mm-hmm.
It was just very, very easy. We didn't need to talk about it.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, and then we were on stage doing that, and of course we'd been on stage together.
Yeah.
Playing opposite each other 10 years ago.
Right,
and
okay.
There we are, on stage with this set all around us. Just, and and it felt like it was about time passing.
Yeah.
And I'd come from far away to find him, as I have done in real life,
Yeah.
And there was just so many similarities that really enriched it, and made all the emotional world of it so much richer.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah.
That probably kind of really helped come across anyway. I say from our point of view, we don't know any of that. It's, it probably really helped sort of make that scene more emotional. Then I was just trying to picture now when you're doing a death scene and then just bursting out laughing. It must be quite, and then going straight back to being obviously serious and everything. It's
yeah.
It's great.
It was really great. That I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's great that you guys have got that kind of friendship as well, and obviously it probably helped draw you straight back in to your episode, seeing straight away.
Yeah.
Back with them again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Cool. Would you return as? I was going to say, would you return as Constantine? No, that was. Would you return to Constantine? Yeah, wrong man. That's the wrong man to ask. There's so much that could be done with the Gary Lester character. I mean, we saw him in the 2 episodes. He gave everything, and obviously, and died in the series. But the backstory about Newcastle and Gary being one of John's friends for ages, and the driver for the Newcastle crew, etc. Would you consider doing more if it was renewed and carried on?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the series had carried on, I believe that the Newcastle flashbacks were lined up. So I was really excited about the prospect of going back. I loved it. Get the band back together. I wanted to make a music video, Mucous Membrane. I wanted to get the wig on for the younger Gary Lester.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That brings us right into the next one then. Would you ever think of doing a Mucous Membrane flashback? What would it be like?
Totally. Well, me and Matt have talked about this. We've really wanted to, because we both play guitar.
Yeah.
So we really fancied doing a live gig as Mucous Membrane. Should go around the Comic Con.
Yeah. You go down the street, it'll be like the highlight. Get the guitars out in front of, just surprise everyone. Just turn up and just get the guitars out and play.
I totally, yeah.
Just go behind the sofa or something when you're doing one of these, one of the panels, and just get your wigs on. And as I knock the headset off my head, then oh god.
I think would be good. Mucous Membrane.
Yeah, it would.
Maybe that's a spin-off.
It could be, yeah, very much so. Yeah, follow the mucous membrane as they go on tour. Right. If you ever had to give up the stage, would you be able to? I think I know the answer from the chats we've had. If you did have to give it up, would it?
No, I mean I couldn't. But I mean, what would be the reason why I had to give it up? Is there like an asteroid or something, or?
It is strange because obviously if you gave it I don't know the context behind that one because that was one that just came in. But yeah, you're right. I guess if you had to give up the stage, you'd have to give up the whole acting.
My flatmate's just come in here.
Oh right, okay. Oh my god.
Sorry, can you keep it down? I'm trying to.
Bloody hell.
What are you doing now?
Oh my god. Okay. Good God. Hey Matt, listeners, Hellblazers. We've got Matt Ryan has just gate crashed this interview.
Hey guys,
good God.
Sure.
I just got back from picking up my passport. So
All right.
My documents sorted out for Arrow, which I'm going to be doing.
Awesome.
They're only going to hear you. They're not going to
be able to see you.
So
they might be able to see you. I was going to ask and say, well, could I put the video up as well? But
oh, cheers, man.
That's making me thirsty now.
A recreation of that scene, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've got a drink as well, so cheers.
Cheers. Nice to meet you. Sorry, what was your name?
It's Chris.
Chris.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you on Skype, Chris.
Thank you very much, Matt. So, how are you, anyway?
I am very good, man. I'm very good. It's been busy over the last couple of weeks trying to get everything sorted and locked in for Arrow.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting up to do a play on the 1st of September. So we were trying to make it all work and all fit in and everything. So, but that's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to doing that and working with those guys and doing a little bit of Constantine on there and yeah.
Excellent. I know I've got a few fans are coming to New York
how
to
do
see
you feel? Sorry,
go on, Gary. Go on, Jonjo.
How do you feel about putting on the coat again? It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting the coat out. Yeah. It's funny. I watched a couple of episodes the other day just to try and remind myself of what it was I was doing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure as soon as that trench coat comes back on, then John's pretty much in there anyway. But I'm excited, man. I love this character so much. He's my favorite character I've ever played, and to get the trench coat back on again is going to be an exciting thing.
Fantastic. I obviously found out last night as well from a few guys who are going to Chicago Comic-Con that because of Arrow, you won't be going there. So obviously they're gutted because they were going to come and see you. But I think the news to see Arrow. So, I mean, you got Kim, TJ, and oh god, I can't remember the other one.
I know. I was really gutted about that actually because it falls in the weekend when I'm going to be doing Arrow and. And it's just one of those things where I'm just not. If I do it, then the work is going to suffer, and it's obviously all about the work. So I want to try and do the best by it as possible.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. I think that everyone understands the reasons why, and it's just overjoyed the fact that we're going to see you with the trench coat back on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's funny because we're trying to get like all the props and everything together now, and like the lighter and the cigarette packets they made and all that sort of stuff. So it's so cool, man. It's exciting stuff.
Fantastic. I know Kim herself is coming to New York as well to see you play. Yeah,
she did. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, I favoured a tweet she sent, and that's great. I hope she enjoys it.
Oh, great. So I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So what else have you got lined up? Oh, you obviously got your play. How long is that going to go on for?
That goes on until January the 10th we finish.
Right, okay.
It's a nice stint of winter in New York City, so that should be fun. Yeah. So there's that, and then, that's all I'm booked up for so far. So we'll see what happens,
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this stint on Arrow is going to be a huge boost for Constantine. You've seen, and Jonjo knows the amount of love and support that, everyone's got for Constantine. So the fact that you're coming on as the crossover episode, it could spark so much more, I reckon.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that anyway. Everyone's touching wood here. So, as in the table wood.
I'm crossing my fingers for... I love the show so much. I had so much fun working on it. I mean, look, me and my best mate got to play best mates in the show. I mean, that was so amazing. When I heard that, and John, when the whole thing was happening, I was just like, man, it was right at a point when we were shooting where it was getting very, very busy for me. And I think it was the 4th episode, and just having, someone as skilled as Jonjo and someone who I knew as well and I've worked with come onto the show was great because I was just like I could breathe for 5 minutes. It's like you take over. It's great.
Awesome. That's absolutely fantastic.
So what about yourself, man? What are these? You do these podcasts? What are they about?
I just started. I've only joined. I've been on Twitter for a couple of years, and I've never used it until Constantine came out, and then I just fell in love with the show so much. So I found the fandom on Twitter. So I started tweeting around, and everyone's, got into being friends there. Then I realised it's got 140 characters, and I'm not going to swear, but I can't write in 140 characters. I'm sorry. It's one, you get to the end and it just rolls over. So I thought, well, I've seen podcasts before, and I've the wrestling that I'm part of. They do all that, they've done them. So I just got onto Spreaker, and I put it across and started doing like positive stuff, like telling people just to keep fighting, keep tweeting, that kind of thing.
Oh, great!
And from there, it just spiraled, and then it was positivity. I started doing impressions. They're not very good, so I'm not going to do them. Well, I don't know.
Come on, man. Come on. Give me one.
Come on.
Let me take a drink first before I do it, because it really...
Have a drink.
God, he's chugging up a big bottle he's got there.
I know, yeah. Oh, God. Hang on. I can't believe I'm doing this to Matt and Jonjo. So this is... As you're to interview you, I could. The force strong with you, it is.
That's pretty good, man.
And see, I'll do one from there. When 900 years old, you reach, look as good. You will not.
I like it, man.
Very good.
See, I've actually got one where I did a 5-minute interview where I just talked to myself as Yoda. So I interviewed Yoda back and forth. So I'll send Jonjo the link. I mean, you guys are far too busy to listen to that. But people, I think it's rubbish. I don't like it. Well, I like him, but I don't like my voice. But people seem to take to them. And then I got to meet Hillary Brandt. Yeah, Hillary. So. I got to meet her, and I interviewed her first about her. Yeah, got to become friends with her.
You met her? Where did you meet her?
No, I've not met her. I met her on Twitter, should I say?
Oh, right. But you interviewed her?
Yeah, I interviewed her. So she was my first interviewee about 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And people loved it so much, and I was like, well, they said, Chris, you're okay at this, so you carry on. So I started reaching out. I thought, well, I really enjoy talking to you lot. So I reached out, and I've tracked Angie down for 7 weeks.
Have you?
And I finally interviewed her last week.
Oh, you did? No way. How's she doing? I haven't spoken to her for ages.
Oh, she was great. She's so nice, isn't she? She's
lovely. She is so lovely. I mean, she's kind on the eyes as well, which always helps. Lovely. No, she's like one of the boys, man. Like when we were shooting the show, it was amazing. She was literally like one of the boys, willing to muck in, wasn't she? Like she was having a laugh. Yeah. It was she was such a godsend. It was amazing.
Oh, fantastic. And I've interviewed Will Campbell as well. He was Carter. He was on an episode, A Whole New World, A Whole World Out There?
Yeah.
The first one to die with a bag over his head.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty nice way to go.
Lovely way to go, bag on the head. Great, man. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to hopefully eventually get you, but you've just gate crashed it. So this is...
I know. Well, as I said, I just got in. I'm being picked up, I think, about like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, God. Fly back to the States.
Fly back to Paris and then to Vancouver.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a long shift and long flight.
Yeah, it is actually. It is. It's going to be a bit of a long one, so I better get an early night tonight.
Yeah, can you quick one? I'll tell you can't divulge anything of what's going to happen in Arrow.
I'm afraid I can't.
Put you right on the spot.
But it's exciting. It's really exciting. It's.
You've read it though, haven't you?
Yes, I've read it, Jonjo. Yes. There was one version, and then
holding it back from us.
The new version has just come out, and it's good. It's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's cool to see how John interacts with all that group.
Well, definitely, yeah. It's a whole new,
a whole different dynamic, and so it's good to try. And what's interesting is there's different writers writing for him. So my first thought was like, oh, how are they writing John? And it's great because they really are kind of keeping in with the way that we were doing it on the show, and. So, it's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to getting that trench coat back on again.
Fantastic. And Stephen... Sorry? Go blonde, yeah. There's a lot of talk at the moment in the rooms. They're saying, God, they've just got used to you going back brown again.
I know, right? It's crazy. It's well, the thing is, I've got to go blonde and then dye it back brown again for the play I start. So,
oh, God.
It's very damaging to the hair,
Oh, the ladies will understand that.
Whatever it is they give you.
Yeah. I've got to say, when you came to Wales Comic Con I met you in April. But it was all for about 20 seconds on a photo shoot. It was just like a quick, hey Matt, how you doing? Great show, bye.
Where was that? Which one was it at?
The Wrexham, Wales Comic Con.
Oh, in Wales?
Yeah, in Wales. That was brilliant. I saw you brown hair there, and I was like, I couldn't recognise you at first.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, oh god.
It took me a while to get used to having it back, man, because, I was used to having... I really got used to the blonde, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a bit weird." Excuse the headscarf; it's because I've been riding my motorbike, so I pull this on my face. Look, see, I do that, and then I do that.
Yeah, Matt's doing a gangster impression.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that Comic Con was really cool actually, and I've done a couple of them more. I've done Tampa Bay and Houston as well, and they were fun. And I was really looking forward to Chicago because I think Stephen's going to be there actually.
Oh, right, okay.
Stephen Amell, yeah. But it's just one of those things because I've got such a lot of work on. Even if the schedule permitted it, that weekend is going to be so valuable to me for preparing for this and also for Arrow and also for the play that's coming up. So I need all the time I can get now. Otherwise, I would be there. But I'm sure there's going to be lots more next year, and we want to get Jonjo on some as well. So
definitely, yeah.
The next ones are in the UK next year.
Well, we were saying with Lucas Membrane.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something like that.
I know, I was just actually saying that I know I'm friends with James, who's the guy who runs the Wrexham, the Wales Comic Con. Yeah, so I keep telling him on Facebook, so I'll try and get you both. Would you be up for that in April?
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're free.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do it together. Do the whole thing together. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. It was you and Emmett last time, wasn't it? So.
Well, it was me and Emmett, but it was me and Emmett sitting next to it. It was funny, man, because we were just like having a laugh with each other across the table. It was great.
Yeah, you could see that. It was fantastic. All I can see is a bit of Jonjo's side of his head at the moment.
Oh, I'm hogging the camera.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
Come in here. Come in here.
Yeah.
You were talking about some very interesting parts of my life and career.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you push him straight out,
Who are you talking about?
We were talking about you. The things we were saying about you.
I know, yeah, just so complimentary. You just stopped it all in its tracks.
No, please continue.
You might have to make the door bigger to get Sorry, that's for me at the moment because I'm just like over the moon. I can't believe this. Oh, cool. That's brilliant.
So, is there anything else you'd like to ask, man, about the show?
He didn't know you were going to be here.
I didn't know. Yeah, you've stumped me.
Okay, look, at some point, if you want to get me again, then at some point over the coming months, let's try and fit in a little 10, 15 minutes or something, if you want to do that.
That would be fantastic. Absolutely amazing. And Jonjo's got me details as well.
Okay.
So I'll let him pass them on to you. But that would be amazing. I mean, there's God knows how many people would want to ask questions for you, so it's brilliant. I say I'm stumped at the moment. All I can ask is things like the show itself. How did you see? I can't even think now. It's was it an emotional experience? Obviously, because there was a lot of times when I'll say your interactions with Zed at the time, because there was something Angie mentioned which I just cracked up laughing because I'm so envious of the fact that you were opposite Angie in that, because you're right. I was swooning last week. I've got to admit, I was all the girls are fangirling over you two. But as a lad or as a bloke, 39, I'm an old guy. But I was just like, oh god, listening to her talking, it was great. And she was mentioned the shower scene. She obviously wanted to carry on, and she wanted to get her reaction was she wanted to be in a shower, to walk into a shower with Matt. There was some shagging goes on, and then she just walks out and goes, "That's enough. Fine, that's it. Fine," and walks off and just leaves it at that because she thought that was perfect for her Zed strength character. How would you react to that then?
What's interesting, man, is obviously in the comics, in the comics, they pretty much get it on straight away.
Yeah.
And then obviously we were drawing that out within the construct of the TV show. And I think that you have to do that. One, you have to build the tension and also keep that kind of sexual tension between them. And I think that a lot of the times you see on TV that as soon as they get together, then it quite kind of goes flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Scully.
yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, you've got to kind of keep that tension. So for those dramatic purposes, we kept them apart. But I think that somewhere down the line, if we had continued, then we would have seen them get together. I think we would have had to, or at least get it on.
Yeah, definitely. There was that tension. You could see the sexual tension was in there all the way through, and it was just like
Still, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's the way it always happens in TV shows. They finally got together, and then someone wakes up.
Oh, a dream, yeah. And John wakes up and he's like, sweating, and says, like, are you all right? I touched you. I had a vision. I saw what you were dreaming.
We're doing some good writing here.
I know.
Season 2 material.
Yeah. Let's just shoot a bunch of scenes and edit ourselves.
Oh, cool. I'm trying to think what else I can ask you now. I'm totally... See, this is what happens. See, when you're not a professional, you just get stumped. When you get thrown in with something fantastic.
Well, I don't know if John just told you about the whole situation of him coming over to Atlanta, and we hadn't really talked to each other for a long time. Have you told him that about how we hadn't really talked? And the next time we turned around,
we were on the bed.
Yeah,
I said we were on the bed. We hadn't seen each other.
I just said that,
screaming and dying. And
it was so funny, man, because. I know, sorry to repeat what you've already said, but we just been crossing each other in corridors as he was getting costume fittings, and I was on the previous episode still. And then next minute, I walk in, I'm like, right, are you okay? Great. And he's got all these things in his face, blood everywhere, markings. We hold each other's hand, and he's like, ah! And then the next minute is cut. They start to turn the camera around, change the lights for the next shot, and we're like, hey, man. All right, and it's like it was just so funny because it was the first time we'd actually kind of stopped and looked at each other in a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and it was that episode. I think is probably one of my favorite experiences in TV. To be able to work with everybody on the show, but also like that episode was for me when I kind of found the character. I think that was partly to do because I was really able to root him in something personal, which is personal to me, because I was lucky enough, we were lucky enough to get Jonjo, but but also because it was an episode where you kind of got under John's skin a little bit. I think the first two, the other two episodes were a little bit kind of, they weren't about John's past, and my favourite episodes of the whole series are the ones which are personal, which in which John goes through something. Because then you've got something to push against. The kind of whole demon of the week kind of thing is, it works, but only it works like in the episode when I trap Manny in the body, and then you've got the demon of the week thing going on, but you've got the personal relationship going on with him and Manny, and then those episodes when those dynamics were working were the best ones. I think they were. They were the best ones and the most enjoyable. But my favourite episodes of the whole thing were episode 9 when I got possessed. I mean, because that's just fun, man. Excuse me for enthusiastic, but it was just so much fun. I mean, it was the hardest episode by far in terms of just energy and workload, but one of the most fun. But then the other one is episode 4, which was A Feast of Friends with Jonjo, and for all those reasons, for me, it really was that place when the show kind of turned a corner for me and catapulted us forward into the rest of the season.
Fantastic. That's great to hear that.
So
what was it like being sort of acting like you were possessed as well? I say that was a really, really cracking episode. It was another emotional one where it's just like watching you take that on and just get overcome. It was cool, man. I mean, I was like, okay. And what was funny is we were shooting there's that scene when after I put the demon Pazuzu in me. And it's the first time the demon comes out when I push Chaz away and he flies back. It's outside the church. And we were shooting that while we were still shooting episode 8. And I was like, why are we... It was some logistical thing about the location. I was like, I don't even know what this demon is, who he is. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then we were just like, okay, just roll the cameras. Just
do something, and I just and it just, it was in me. It just came out, and
you just summoned one of your.
I just
demons.
Summoned one of my own.
You just said, guys,
I was like, right, we need something.
Can you send someone up?
Yes. But it was, and from that, I was really glad that we actually did do that, because then I was able to kind of really, it was there. It was there. It was already there without me knowing, really, and it was just good to know that. But it was a great episode. I mean, it was exhausting, because you have to do it so many times, and it was really exhausting. But it was so much fun to do. You get to really let rip. It was great fun, man. Great fun. And it was great working with Claire Vanderboom for episodes 8 and 9 as well. She's just a fantastic actress, man. So good, and it was great working with her. I mean, my favourite episodes were the Newcastle bunch. When we had the other characters from the DC world as well, like when Emmett was involved playing Jim Corrigan, and the Newcastle crew coming back, and those were one of my favourite episodes, and I think that we continued doing the show, then we would have introduced a lot more from the DC world and a lot more of the Newcastle crew as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Jonjo when I asked if he'd come back, was the fact there's so much backstory to Gary Lester as well. With the whole of the Newcastle, you could take several episodes or even a whole season just on the back, take it right back in time.
Well, when they were pitching for the season 2, we talked about it, and we were talking about possibly starting season 2 with a flashback to Newcastle. But also as well, we came up with the idea after Gary, Gary died, but we don't see him die. So there's one, and but we were also thinking of ways Gary can be John's port of call, so to speak, in hell. Which he then did become when he turns up as the corpse, when he was in the mirror doing his scratching. He's constantly there in John's mind, and I think that it's a really good motif to keep on bringing Gary back as a source of John's guilt. Because even though we have Astra as a source of John's guilt, we didn't really experience the Astra, the thing that happened with Astra, whereas we did with Gary. So that's a lot more personable to the audience. So to keep that motif going and have Gary, popping up and warning him from hell and stuff. But then the great dynamic as well is we don't know if Gary's lying, because Gary knows that John betrayed him. So there's this strange kind of dynamic that goes on between the two of them, and that's something we wanted to work on as well going forward with the show.
Yeah, well, hopefully that will actually we could still possibly see all that. We'll start with small baby steps at the moment. With huge baby steps, should I say?
I think in today's day of television, I think you can never say never. I think that it's funny because Constantine, the way that everything happened on social media and the way that it was cancelled, and then when we didn't get picked up for the back nine, and then suddenly there was this whole movement on social media, and I think that before then. Obviously the networks knew about social media, but we didn't really pay as much attention to it as they do now. I think it's really becoming a huge thing in terms of how people rate their television audiences, and I think that the show and the whole movement that happened for the show has really helped along with that, and we wouldn't have stayed around long. They kept us on till the really last minute, until our contracts were expired. As a result, they in all fairness to NBC, they really did try to give the show the best shot they could. It was just, one of those things that didn't work in terms of numbers-wise or whatever the reasons. And then Warner Brothers loved the show, and they really were trying to place it, and it's just one of those things that it wasn't able to be placed in time when we all left our contracts. We were released from our contracts. But I think that you never say never in this day of television. There's so many platforms out there now, so many different channels coming, and Netflix and Hulu and all these things that you never know. The show is such a great hardcore cult following, and I think that to get that kind of following, people are trying to get that kind of following on shows. They're working their asses off to get that, and we've got that already. So I did say as well to everybody. When we finished, I said, if somewhere down the line you decide that you want to pick up the show again, then I would love to do it again, you know, because I've loved working on it so much, and I felt that we still had so far to go, really, you know, in terms of the stories we can tell from the amazing graphic novels and comics and characters we could introduce, and you know, and John, you know, it's like I'm just starting to get that. I'm just starting to, you know, starting to grow, you know, get to play with him a bit. So
as I say, when you say bring back TV series, like they brought back the X-Files after God knows how many years, with, you know, Mulder and Scully, who are, you know, they're bordering on a bit old, they're going on, but I absolutely adored X-Files, and
I can't wait to see it, man. I think it'd be
so
awesome.
good.
I think it's going to be fantastic. You know, it's going to be absolutely brilliant, that series. But they brought that back after 10 years. So, like you say never. I mean, I don't know if you know, because I'm not a big Twitter person. I still don't know my way around it. And I know you're not. Sorry, that's a real. I don't want to attack you. But I'm just saying.
Am I bad on Twitter? Have I got a bad reputation on Twitter?
No, you haven't.
Because I don't tweet that much.
Yeah, tweet. I always used to call people who tweet loads of twits, but now I'm one of them. So that's me.
I used to think it was called a twit.
Yeah.
I honestly did. I was like, so I'm just going to twit this, and they were like, Matthew, it's called tweeting. Oh, tweeting? I honestly did think that's why. But no, I know that I'm kind of sporadic on it. I'm either like there or I'm not, and you know, it's something that I only started, you know, at the beginning of the show, so it's something I need to get better at, and you know, I'm open to, you know, constructive criticism about my tweets.
Oh no, the internet it melts when you tweet. To be fair, everyone's just like, my God, Matt's tweeted, and everyone just replies like, you know, your Twitter account was just like melt. But yesterday, Constantine, I can't even think of the word now. It trended. Constantine was trending worldwide after the Arrow news.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I think it was worldwide. It seemed to be going everywhere. That just, you know, the hashtag Constantine was everyone just every other. I mean, I came up to I was over 200 notifications at one point when I woke up from bed, and it was like, oh my God, you know, it's just trawl through all of them. But you know, that's how much it was going on. It was just phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing as well. You know, there is a worldwide audience out there for it. The comics have been, you know, the characters created in 1985. I mean, those fans of the comics then who are now grown up, and all the new fans. I mean, and it's worldwide. You know, on Twitter, you know, some of the people who message me from Brazil and Germany.
Crazy demographic.
It's everywhere. You know? So it's amazing. It's amazing.
I've got some friends for the fans in Russia as well. So you know, it spreads so far. Multi-language. I'm really sad. I'm going to have to do this.
From Russia.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. Yeah. And also the video. Do you remember the video?
Oh, yeah. Have you seen those videos on Twitter where somebody's been morphing mine and Jonjo's head into different characters, like Men in Black? And
Daniel
Wright.
Yeah.
Daniel Wright.
It's so good, man. It's so good. We've been laughing at it.
Shout out to Daniel Wright.
Yeah, shout out to Daniel Wright.
It's Daniel Wright,
Shout out to
great. But the Russia one, there was a Russian, I think, pop video made, a band there, they made it, but as Mucous Membrane. But as Constantine, remember he was on the bed singing a song and then he had fire from his hand?
Oh, yeah.
So they did their band's music video, but referencing the NBC's Constantine, actually, that was it, yeah. And yeah, it was brilliant. It's crazy all this stuff, isn't it? I have to send Matt some of it because he doesn't.
Yeah, I know, because there's so much to troll through.
Yeah. Oh God, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine how many follows and how many things you get sent every day. It must be difficult to keep up. I'm afraid. I'm really sorry, and I'm gutted that I'm going to have to do this because I'm going to have to bring an end to the interview. It's coming up to an hour, and I don't think I've got that much longer. So I'm really gutted because it's been an absolute pleasure and surprise for both of you.
Right, my friend. Well, look, as I said before, let's do this again at some time, and then hopefully Jonjo will come and get crash hours.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to speak to both of you again. I'll just stop recording now. Hang on. Thanks very much, guys. Have you got anything last to say to the fans before I stop recording? Either of you?
I've loved the support. The support's been phenomenal, and love, and I just want to say a big hello, and I hope to see you again someday.
Yeah, me too. Shout out to everybody out there that's ever watched the show and has supported it, and looking forward to getting that trench coat back on for Arrow, and who knows, fingers crossed for the future.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. I'll stop recording now. I won't turn it off yet. Bear with me. Oh my god. Oh my actual god. Can you actually? Can you believe that? I'm overwhelmed. I'm lost for words, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that interview with Jonjo O'Neill. Just got gate crashed by Matt Ryan. So I've just had an interview with Matt Ryan and Jonjo O'Neill, and Matt has agreed and said that I can get your questions, and at some point in the future, the near future, we'll have an interview with him again. Oh my god, guys, I'm gobsmacked. I hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you very much. This is Chris Gordon signing out.
Hi guys, I'm Matt Ryan.
I'm Jonjo O'Neill.
And you're listening to Chris Gordon on
Ramblings of a Hellblazer.